Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today's the 23rd of July, 2021. Right, everyone, let's get into it. So, the next Daily Gwei AMA is going to be happening tomorrow, Saturday the 24th. If you haven't joined the Discord channel yet, be sure to do so, because it's going to be happening in there in the voice channel. And the times will be 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central Eastern Standard Time in Europe, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and 6 a.m. Pacific Time. Of course, this will be recorded as usual and uploaded to the YouTube channel about 24 hours after the AMA is done. Now, if you want to ask questions, you can ask them in the AMA series channel on Discord, or of course, you can ask them live on the AMA. So yeah, hope to see you all there. These just a reminder, these happen every 2 weeks. So even if you can't attend tomorrow's one, you can definitely check out the one in 2 weeks from now. And actually, next week there's going to be a surprise AMA. I'll have more details about that posted in the Discord next week. But I have like a guest coming to do an AMA, so that's going to be really exciting. But anyway, enough on that. Actually, just a quick shout out here. The 300th edition of the Daily Gwei newsletter is going to be published next week. And in honor of this milestone, as I've written here, I'll be dropping a fire piece on EIP-1559, which is co-authored by the same guy who was recycling cans for money to buy ETH during the bear market. Now, I put out this tweet. I don't know if everyone got this reference, but I put out this tweet a little while ago that one of my friends was essentially recycling office cans to buy ETH during the bear market. Like, truly dedicated Ethereum. So we've co-authored that together. I think it is one of the best overviews of 1559. Obviously very timely, and I'm really excited to get that out in the 300th edition of the newsletter. So go subscribe to the newsletter if you haven't yet, so you don't miss that. And just, for anyone who hasn't subscribed to the newsletter yet, it's basically a daily newsletter. It goes out every weekday around the same time as the refuel goes live, and basically covers one event, or at least the biggest event in the Ethereum or crypto ecosystem over the last 24 hours. So I write that every weekday. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already. So I think the biggest piece of news of the last 24 hours, or at least the thing that Twitter was talking about, I don't know if it's news, but just the thing that Twitter was talking about, was the fact that the ETH hashtag now has the Ethiopian flag next to it. Now, this got blown up on Twitter. I think people were confused by this. It is not something that Twitter put in place as a troll or anything like that. I know Jack, the co-founder and CEO of Twitter, put out a tweet with just hashtag ETH with the Ethiopian flag there, and he's known as being a Bitcoin maximalist, so he was trolling a bit there. But essentially, what this is that the country code for Ethiopia is ETH, and what's on at the moment? The Olympics. So these flags next to these hashtags are for the Olympics. They've got nothing to do with crypto. I saw Solana had one of these flags next to it as well. So yeah, and the funny thing is that I saw Bitcoin maximalists making fun of Ethereum because Bitcoin has its own emoji next to its hashtag, whereas ETH hasn't in the past. And now that ETH does, it's like the Ethiopian flag. So I saw Bitcoin maximalists basically making fun of Ethereum, being like, haha, Ethereum got like the Ethiopian flag, didn't get their own kind of emoji next to the ETH hashtag. But I think this is one of the greatest examples of the Streisand effect that I've ever seen. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Streisand effect is, it's basically by bringing attention to something that you don't want attention being brought to, it essentially like compounds and becomes like a marketing vehicle. So you can see like the kind of Streisand effect here as defined by Wikipedia. It's actually named after Barbara Streisand, and I just want to break it down because I saw a lot of people getting confused by this. But essentially, the way Wikipedia defines it says the Streisand effect is a social phenomenon that occurs when an attempt to hide, remove, or censor information has the unintended consequence of further publicizing that information, often via the internet. It is named after American entertainer Barbara Streisand, whose attempt to suppress the California Coastal Records Project's photograph of her residence in Malibu, California, taken to document California coastal erosion, inadvertently drew attention to it in 2003. Now you can see the kind of like image here and everything. But yeah, essentially by, I guess, making fun of Ethereum, it's just become like this massive Streisand effect where Ethereum has all this free marketing thanks to Bitcoin maximalists. Again, I mean, they do this all the time. They're our best marketing vehicle, and I think they play a big part in raising awareness about Ethereum, even though they don't want to. But yeah, so that's kind of like the story around that. And I think just generally, I like the way the Ethereum community responded to this. It wasn't like us complaining about it. We weren't kind of like saying, "Oh my god, we got this this silly flag or whatever next to ETH." We kind of embraced it, and we're like, "Okay, yeah, like Ethiopia and Ethereum, like." let's embrace this. I added the Ethiopian flag to my Twitter name here. But this is Ethereum culture. This is what we do. We don't get triggered over things like this. We embrace them, and we kind of like form collectives around them. And I saw some people even saying that we should form some DAO to donate to causes in Ethiopia, which I think is awesome. I haven't seen anything concrete just yet, but I think that's really cool that that's kind of popping up. So yeah, I guess perfect example of the Streisand effect. Backfired on Maxi's trying to dunk on ETH again, trying to get a cheap hit in on ETH. Was disappointing to see Jack do it, but not unexpected. But yeah, anyway, that's the backstory there. I'm going to move on from that to StatefulWorks announcing that the 1559 NFT, our supporter NFT, has sold out. Now, obviously, I've been shilling this to you guys over the past few days, and I'm incredibly excited that this sold out. And they raised 243.05 ETH, all of which went to the different contributors, researchers, developers, all the people who made 1559 possible, and you can actually see the breakdown of it. Now, the really cool thing about Mira is that they have this thing called splits, which essentially means that you can split up the payments, or at least split up the kind of funds that were raised with, you know, whatever addresses you want to split them into. So you can see here that this was the sales done, this was the price, this was the NFT sold. Obviously, there was 1559 of them, and then you can scroll up and see the splits. So you can see each address and the ownership part of the funds that everyone kind of got here. So most of these are unknown addresses, or like they don't have an ENS or a Twitter account attached to them. But you can see here Light Clients and Tim Biker. I mean, they're both Ethereum core developers, researchers. I mean, everyone at this stage knows who Tim is. But yeah, so that means that you can essentially claim whatever your share is, and that's really cool to see that the shares were kind of like done like this. I mean, you can see here Kite, the one who designed the NFT as well. He got 2% of it, so it's basically of that 243.05 ETH. This is the percentage they would get, which is a fair chunk of change. I think 10% of that number is 24 ETH. That's a lot of money, right? 24 times 2K. You have like $58,000. I think, if I'm doing my math correctly. $48,000 US dollars, which is just awesome. These people, I mean, I think these people deserve much more than this, but this is still awesome to see this, and this is a way for the community to get something out of it too. I mean, we all got a really cool NFT, and the 1559 Patron NFT, the one that's for auction, is still up for bidding. So if you are interested in bidding on this, it is a hefty sum of $32,000 right now, or 15.59 ETH, but it's still going for another 4 days and 18 hours. Now, I did mention that these NFTs are really cool, and we all got one if we were a supporter. Obviously it wasn't cheap, but if you got one, you can basically kind of say that you have one, but you can display it. Here's Carlos displaying it on his digital frame called the Mural 2, which I actually bought today after seeing this. It wasn't cheap, but I brought it because I've been looking for a really cool digital frame to display my NFTs on, and it's coming, I think, next week or something, so you might see it pop up behind me. Maybe I'll find a spot for it behind me, but I would love to display my 1559 NFT along with, all the other NFTs that I have, and kind of like a rotating thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, just playing this video here and seeing how it works, this is so cool. I love this. I mean, and I know people can just say, oh, well, you didn't need to buy it to do this. You can just like copy paste, control click save, whatever. But that's not the point. The point is that that you own it, right? Like, that you actually own the art. You have proof of ownership over it, and that's what I think counts. And obviously other people can see this. You have provenance over it. It's all on chain and things like that. So I think it's really, really cool. And you know what? I would feel like it was a bootleg version if I essentially just copy pasted it, or just control click, right click saved on it. And then displayed it. I would be like, well, this is a bootleg. I don't really own this, and I would feel kind of meh about it. It wouldn't really mean much to me. But the fact that I actually own this NFT means a lot to me. Now, maybe a lot of you don't, maybe don't think that's important, or maybe don't get it, and that's fine. This is very subjective stuff here, but I still think it's very, very cool. But anyway, congrats to StatefulWorks for this. I mean, StatefulWorks, I've showed you guys before, like the NFTs that they did, and the within the Beacon book, and now the 1559 one. They're already planning something for the merge as well. I think I'm just going to collect every NFT that these guys do, because honestly, I just I love the fact that it's focused on Ethereum and Ethereum culture, rather than I guess, new kind of projects building on top of Ethereum, which are all fine, like new NFT projects, I should say, which are all fine and dandy. But I like these ones that are focused like on the Ethereum protocol itself and the core of Ethereum, because I think if I was to say what I spend most of my time on, that is what I spend most of my time on, is the core Ethereum stuff. Like the application layer, sure, but in terms of what interests me the most, it's definitely the core of Ethereum. So the other piece of huge news over the last 24 hours, I think this was the biggest piece of news over the last 24 hours, was that Arbitrum announced that they are scaling Reddit's community points. So you can see this post here on Reddit, and a lot of you will remember the community points that Reddit has done, and they kind of put out this scaling bake-off challenge back last year. I think it was like September last year, if I load this page up. It was, if I got the date here, October 1st, 2020, they put this post out called the Great Reddit Scaling Bake-Off. Now, this was a competition where people working on scaling solutions could submit their solutions to scale Reddit's community point system. Now, Reddit has chosen Arbitrum as the winner here. So what they're actually going to be doing is deploying their own instance of Arbitrum. So there's Arbitrum 1, which is the first instance, and that's the one that the Off-Chain Labs team, the ones building Arbitrum, are going to be deploying, and that's the one where things like Uniswap and all the other DeFi projects that have announced that they're deploying to there are going to be. But this one, this community point system, is going to be on its own instance of Arbitrum. Now, that means that it is effectively separate to Arbitrum 1, so you can call this like Arbitrum Reddit, for example, but it's still using Ethereum for security. It's still a true layer 2. It is still inheriting the decentralization and security properties of Ethereum, but at the same time, because it's controlled by Reddit, I'm going to assume that it's not going to be decentralized from the get-go, right? Like, even though they say it's decentralized here, the underlying Arbitrum technology is, because it's structured in such a way that it inherits Ethereum security to an extent, but there's going to be admin keys, I'm sure. There's probably going to be some form of like KYC or identification or something, at least in the short term. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that Reddit, right? Reddit is using Ethereum and using Ethereum layer 2s, which I think is really awesome. Now, some people brought up concerns around composability, saying, okay, well, if they're launching their own rollup, then they lose composability with Arbitrum 1 and like everything else. And like that is the reality of all of this sort of stuff. Not just got to do with Reddit, but this is the way the world is going to be. There is no way to have composability across all of these apps with scalability while preserving decentralization and security. Not even with sharding. Now, I know there are some projects out there that want to scale via layer 1 to keep that composability that we all know and love today while keeping the fees low, but they sacrifice decentralization and security to achieve that. So we're going to live in a world that is essentially asynchronous communication. Now, what this means is we're going to have bridges between the different layer 2s. Now, I've spoken extensively about these bridges: Connext, Hot Protocol, Sassal Network. I mean, Starkware is doing bridging stuff as well. There's so many things happening. And that's exactly what's going to happen with this. There's going to be a bridge from the Arbitrum Reddit chain or layer 2 to the Arbitrum 1 chain. There's going to be a bridge from them to Ethereum, obviously. There's going to be a bridge from that to Optimism, to Starkware, to other chains, like side chains, like whatever, like the Polygon POS chain. There's going to be bridges everywhere, and that's okay, because we want to preserve that decentralization and security of the base layer. And the only way to do that is to scale via layer 2, and sharding enhances layer 2. I've spoken about this before as well, a lot on the Refuel. So, that's kind of like how the Ethereum scaling world is going to be playing out. And I don't think that takes away from the amazing achievement that we have with these new layer 2s like Optimistic and ZK rollups. And I also think that the composability will be possible in an asynchronous way, where you'll send a message to another chain and it will take a little bit of time to get there. It won't be instant, but this is exactly how the web works today, like Web 2 world works today. It is not, a lot of things aren't synchronous, they're asynchronous, so they have to wait for things to happen. I mean, yes, it feels fast and everything like that, but to bridge between different databases and stuff like that. A lot of databases don't even talk to each other. The fact that a lot of these things are permissionless as well, where you don't have to basically say, hey, to this centralized company, can I talk to your database with an API? You can talk to Ethereum. Like, anyone can talk to Ethereum. Anyone can talk to these layer 2s as long as they've been set up in a permissionless way, which if they're not, I mean, they're not going to get very far in my eyes. So we have these kind of like open APIs and these permissionless API standards where everyone's just going to bridge in and out of. There's just going to be so much much scaffolding around it, so much infrastructure put in place. And that to me is the multi-chain world. I don't believe that the multi-chain world is lots of different competing layer ones all trying to, I guess, like get this kind of like piece of the pie. I think the multi-chain world is Ethereum at the center, layer 2s and side chains all around it. And I actually do think long-term layer 2s secured by Ethereum is going to be the thing. I think side chains serve their purpose maybe in the short to medium term, but long-term, I'm very, very bullish on layer 2s on Ethereum, basically filling all scalability needs. And that is, to me, the multi-chain future. But anyway, really awesome to see this from Arbitrum here. Like, I mean, this is super exciting. This happened like I think it was like 20 minutes after I went to bed. I went back and checked the time that this was announced. I'm like, oh my God, I missed this like by 20 minutes. But it was like 3 a.m., so I was all right with it. But I woke up to this news and I was like, this is absolutely amazing. So I'm really excited about this. You should be too. You can go check out this post for more details about this. But you know, Reddit. I mean, Reddit's huge. So it's going to be awesome to see how they continue with this. And it's going to be awesome to be able to play around with this sooner rather than later. So I put out this tweet today where I said the Holy Trinity of Ethereum, and then I listed 3 EIPs here. I have EIP-1559, EIP-3074, and EIP-3675. Now, 1559 I'm not going to talk about. You all know about 1559. There is absolutely no reason for me to rehash it again. As I said, I have a post coming out next week on in the newsletter about it that will give you a nice high-level overview of it before it goes live, you know, within the next few weeks. But the other 2 EIPs I do want to go over a little bit. So EIP 3074, I have spoken about this on the refuel before, but 3074 is a usability upgrade for Ethereum. Now, what this does in simple terms and the way that users are going to get the benefit out of this is it makes it so that developers can code up their smart contracts in a way where instead of having to do 2 separate transactions, like an approved transaction and a swap transaction on something like Uniswap, you can do this in one transaction where you do the approve and the swap, and you only have to pay the gas once. You only have to sign the transaction once. You don't have to do 2 separate transactions. That is a massive, massive UX upgrade. Like, I can't tell you, and I'm sure you guys feel the same, how much it annoys me having to approve tokens every single time I interact with a new smart contract for every single token. Now, I get why it's there for security reasons, but it is incredibly annoying having to do that all the time. So that is a massive user upgrade there. But, I mean, this is more for developers, and there's a lot more to it than this, of course, but I think this is the main kind of thing that, at least the easiest way I can break this down for people. But essentially, you know, it does a lot more than that from my understanding. But I think that is one of the major 3 major EIPs coming within the next 12 months. And then on top of that, we have EIP 3675, which you'll be forgiven for not knowing because it's a new EIP. It was only put forward 22 hours ago as of time of recording, but this was put forward by Mikhail here, who basically describes this EIP. Well, the title of it is Upgrade Consensus to Proof of Stake, and he describes it as a specification of the consensus mechanism upgrade on Ethereum mainnet that introduces Proof of Stake, aka the merge. This is the EIP for the merge. Now, I've spoken about the ETH1 to ETH2 merger before on the refuel. But just a quick summary, it's when we get rid of the proof of work consensus mechanism for Ethereum, we merge the current ETH1 chain into ETH2 by using the beacon chain as the new consensus engine for that ETH1 chain. Now, you may have seen this referred to as the consensus layer, which is the beacon chain, and the execution layer, which is going to be the ETH1 chain we know and love today. That's essentially what this EIP is. Now, I don't think I have to go over why this is such a big deal. I mean, you can all pretty much get why it's such a big deal. But this is, I mean, I would say this is the most important EIP. 1559 is the second most important, I think, and biggest. And then 3074 would be the third. But this is by far the most important in Ethereum's history. The culmination of 6-7 years worth of work, research, development. In addition to that, it's a massive security and economic upgrade to Ethereum. It is exactly why I have been buying so much Ethereum over the years, so much ETH over the years. Well, at least one of the reasons. Not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons, because I wanted to stake it, and I am staking most of it. And on top of that, I really like the fact that Ethereum is not going to have to deal with the ESG narratives that Bitcoin is going to have to deal with, you know, as time goes on. So yeah, really, really positive. EIP 3675. You can check this out. It'll be linked in the YouTube description. You know, there's a bunch of comments in here. You can read through the specification for yourself if you'd like to do that. So the Index Co-op has announced the Bankless BED Index in cooperation with the Bankless DAO. Now, what this index is basically equal weighted exposure to Bitcoin, ETH, and the DPI, the DeFi Pulse Index here. So just a disclosure here, I am an advisor to SET, which is heavily involved with Index Co-op. I own Index tokens, and I'm good friends with the Bankless guys. So just want to get that out there. But I'm not just covering this because of that. I think this is actually a really cool kind of product that appeals to a different set of people than maybe us hardcore people within the crypto ecosystem. I think this is definitely something that can be suggested to your normie friends or your family, and say to them, hey, if you want passive exposure to crypto, here's the BED index. This gives you exposure to BTC, ETH, and DPI. And they will have heard of DeFi, or at least rumblings about it, if they're asking about it, and then they might be asking you, okay, what can I buy to get exposure to DeFi? And what can I buy to get exposure to ETH and BTC? And I think this is the perfect product here. Now, is this a product that I would buy? Probably not, because one, I don't want Bitcoin exposure. Two, I manage my own investments because I'm so deep in the ecosystem. But this product, as I said, is not made for people like you and I. It is definitely made for people who are looking for passive and easy exposure from crypto. So definitely go check this out if you haven't already. I think it's a great product. I think it's already got over $1 million of AUM in it, which is really cool to see. But generally, you should definitely suggest this to people when they come up to you and ask you how to get exposure to the whole ecosystem. I think it's really cool and a really easy way to get exposure there. So I came across this piece that I missed yesterday from Andrew Bakst, and it's titled ETH, the world's most valuable asset. So there's a blog post here, and it's also available in a PDF version. But essentially what this does is it goes over ETH as an asset and Ethereum as a network from a different lens than what I've seen before. It maps it to the traditional finance system, how Ethereum improves upon it. It's got a bunch of nice graphics here and pictures which you can follow through. I mean, as I was reading it, I was like, this is really, really good. I really, really enjoy this. I'm glad that I came across this again. But essentially, it pulls together a lot of what you may have seen, the Bankless guys talking about, myself talking about, a lot of people in the ecosystem talking about, and kind of just contextualizes it, which I really like. When people do that, when people bring all this stuff together and contextualize it and contrast it with different kind of things, whether it be the traditional finance system or the Web 2 world, I think that works really well to kind of give analogies for people and allow people to kind of dive deeper into this sort of stuff here. So yeah, I highly recommend giving this a read. Obviously, I'll link it in the YouTube description. And I just wanted to quickly shout out to Andrew. If you're listening, thank you for putting this together. I mean, this is the first I've seen of you and of your work, and I really love it. So keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to future pieces you do on ETH and whatever else you do, really, on DeFi or whatever, if you've got more coming here. And I did comment that you were going to make it, and of course you're going to make it. If you're into ETH and you think ETH is the world's most valuable asset, as I truly believe it is, then you are going to make it for sure. All right, so last up here, we have a tweet from Brantley from ENS Domains, who said, the number of unique Ethereum accounts that hold at least one ENS name just passed 100,000. And you can see there's a Do Not Leaks dashboard here. My camera is probably covering it. No, we got it. All good. You can see the total names created is over 300,000. Then you can see different charts and the monthly registrations that spiked last month. And I went over why they spiked, gas fees being cheaper, people realizing the ENS names were actually NFTs, things like that. But also, ENS just getting more popular generally, I think, because more and more people are realizing that they want a name, and they want a name attached to their Ethereum address, especially for things like the metaverse, and they want to be able to show off their NFTs on their ENS, on their Ethereum addresses. They want people to know who they are. So I think that's why we saw a big spike there. But yeah, this is really cool. You can check out this Do Not Leaks dashboard. It is linked in Brantley's tweet, which I'll link in the YouTube description. But congrats to ENS on this. It's been a journey. I mean, ENS has been around for quite a while now. They've been doing amazing work. I love my ENS name, sassal.eth, right? Everyone knows me by that. And, if you don't have one yet, you should definitely go get one. But I think on that note, I'm going to wrap it up for today. So thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Give that video a thumbs up, subscribe to the newsletter, join the Discord channel, and I'll catch you all next week. Don't forget to join the Discord channel so that you can participate in the AMA tomorrow. But if I don't see you on the AMA, I'll see you in next week's refill. So yeah, thanks everyone.